YouTube? This is Travis Dunn with MDL, and this is my vlog for September 15th, 2016. Felt like doing a vlog this morning. It is a beautiful morning. Needless to say, fall is in the air. It has been getting colder at night. Certainly, we've seen less and less of the 90-degree weather, which, I'll be honest, I don't exactly miss the 90-degree weather. So biker rodeo was a few weeks ago, and it was both a lot of fun and not a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it was a hell of a party, and got to spend time with some family, some friends. And it is a wild ass party, and but unfortunately, my stepdad, the poor guy, he can't win for losing. Every year, he's now got a different bike than he had last year, the previous years, and every year something happens to the bike on rodeo weekend. This year, as far as we can tell, the ignition module went out. We even swapped out coil packs, thinking maybe it was a coil issue. Even swapped spark plugs and things like that, and the best we can tell, it was only firing on one cylinder. So he didn't get to ride that weekend, which I felt bad, because honestly, it wasn't something we could fix easily and right away. So he ended up just taking his car into the rodeo, and the first night we both went in together in the car, and then the second night I took the bike in. But the bike's been fine. It rode good. I did enjoy what time I did get to ride. But needless to say, I didn't get to do the big long ride I expected to do on Saturday afternoon. So, well, that kind of sucks. But moving on. Football season's deep in, and so far my son's team's done pretty well. They have won every game so far, knock on wood. They have a away game today, so I will not get to participate into that, unfortunately, just because I have to be at work at 7 o'clock. And some away games I do get to go to, but this one's a little too far away for me to make the trip. So literally, I could go, say hi, and leave, and probably still be late to work. We are deep in the hunt for a new car, and we went and test drove a few cars. My wife was looking real hard at a Dodge Journey. That was kind of on the top of her list, mostly because she kind of wanted the third row. But we're having a little hard time finding one. We thought we had found like the perfect one, low miles, 2016, decently equipped, and had pretty much just about everything she wanted. And unfortunately, they had some reason sent it to auction. I don't, and then for some reason it sat on their website and stuff for like 3 weeks. Even the manager that we talked to there said that it was kind of strange for him to be still on the website for that long, but he did confirm. 3 different people had confirmed, because we checked 3 different times for that car, and all 3 times they confirmed that it went to auction. And I'm not sure why, but it did. But I'm kind of hesitant. Like, I like the look of the Dodge Journey, and the feature set's just fine. It is a little bit bigger. That's what's kind of why my wife was leaning towards it. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not like full-size SUV. And like I said, it had a third row option, which that's part of the problem, is finding one with the third row option. But anyway, but the car that she's sort of interested in right now, we test drove about a little over a week ago now, Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. And it's about the same size car she has now. and has a little more features than she has in her current car. And I kind of liked it. She kind of liked it. But we wanted to test drive a couple more cars just to go through the gamut and make sure, that's what she wants. But it is on the kind of top side of our budget. And to be honest, I still got to look at what the insurance, because I don't want to get blindsided on the insurance. I'm dragging ass today, so I apologize for that yawn I just did. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. She'd really like to have a blue car. They had one in blue. She'd like to have backup camera. That's a feature she would kind of like to have. And but that particular one didn't have it, but I have seen ones with it. So it's kind of just a matter of finding the right one, sit down and do the negotiation and get it for the right price. Certainly with this late in the year, with 2016 models, they're going to be looking to push them out. So the deal, I've started seeing prices come down, and it's a good time to buy. The question might be why? Why are we buying? My wife's got a 2011 Dodge Caliber, and to be honest, that car's starting to nickel and dime us to death. I've put over $1,500 in it already this year. I just got done a couple weeks ago putting a lower control arm on the driver's side, and I got in just the other day, but I've got to do the passenger side and get the front end alignment done. So, and depending on how it drives, I may even just skip the alignment and take it in and trade the damn thing in. But it's starting to nickel and dime us to death, and to be honest, it's got 105,000 miles. We put a lot of miles on that car. And I told her, I said, we can either fuss putting money into it and still have the possibility of something going wrong, or we can go and get a new car. We put a good chunk down, and I apologize for the yawn. So yeah, I mean that's where we're at. She's kind of on board with the idea. It's just a matter of finding the right car and the right price, and pulling the trigger. Now, as far as the SD Project channel, me and my brother have been doing a podcast. We're actually technically on number 4, but number 3 on this naming list, because I originally was calling it Game Taggers, but it just didn't quite fit the podcast, because we want to talk about things other than gaming. So we decided to change the name to the Untitled Two Brother Podcast. And I did that a little bit strategically, partly because I was having a hard time coming up with a name for it, but 2, when I did and it just kind of popped up to me, I'm like, well, maybe I'll do this for a while, because anytime I try to come up with a name for a video series, I try to make sure that name hasn't been used, or maybe not used in that way. And so, I did a search for the Untitled Two Brother Podcast. And strangely enough, it was one that nobody had used, but what did come up was Tested, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. I love their content. If you've not watched it, it's got former Mythbuster Adam Savage. It was kind of his thing. He started a few years back with a small group of people, and it's just him and a small group. They do all kinds of things. They do model making, they do crafts, they do any type of conventions and things that Adam goes to. It's a way for them to document that, and Adam's been putting more time and effort into it since he left since the ending of Mythbusters. So anyway, what I'm getting to is that came up on the search, first thing. So I'm like, man, if I name it kind of like this, and I did sort of the start, if I put that name in, then that's what's coming up. And if I can eventually get, that podcast on the mark, in the search, And then that would be great, because that would come up on something that's highly searched, highly viewed. And I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of a strategic sense, trying to, drum up views and drum up that type of thing. So, but we're, like I said, we're technically 4, but third podcast in, we've had a slew of problems, and I do mean slew. Everything from audio problems to video problems, to tonight I had an encoding problem, and last one I had a different type of encoding, which was the encoding we normally do while we're actually, I normally try to use OBS. This week we decided, well, we'll record our own side, our own audio, our own video, upload it to Google Drive, and then I would do it in post. Now, I will say the quality is much better, but the post process, trying to do it in like Adobe After Effects versus doing it in OBS, is 5 times as much work. So it took me, I probably did solid 2 hours worth of editing, and then I rendered it, and I looked at the beginning. I didn't really skip through it. And then I uploaded it, and then next thing you know, I always like to check it just to make sure it looks right. So I start playing the video, and I see part of the final image that I used for the the type of ending placeholder, if you will, that basically says, thanks for watching, please subscribe, that type of deal. And for some reason, a little portion of it was kind of rendered over another picture throughout the whole video. And I have no idea, because it's nowhere in that portion of the video. It's only at the end of the video. So I'm not exactly sure how that ended up. I did re-render. I deleted that video. I re-rendered it. I took a quick peek of it on my laptop right before I had to leave work. And the video looked okay, but I'm going to take another look at it when I get home and then try to upload it this morning. So, yeah, that was just, like I said, we've had a slew of problems. Part of the problem, unfortunately, is my brother's internet connection. His internet is not so good. So there's, when it comes to the recording, there's delay. And then the other portion of it has been my problem, which is when I've been using my laptop to do the OBS recording, it's choppy, it breaks up, it pauses, it does all kinds of weird, funky stuff. And I just think that laptop's not powerful enough, and it really struggles to do any type of editing or anything like that. So really just not the machine that I should be using for it. Speaking of machines, I did an upgrade to Nemesis, my desktop. And so I got a 4790K i7. So it's a 4-core, 8 threads. And I went back and forth. Even the day that I went to pick it up, I was like, do I really want that, or do I want to bump up to either the newer 6000 series i7, or do I want to spend the money and get the enthusiast chip and go for 6 cores, 12 threads? And I literally was pacing up and down in the store having that debate with myself, which I'm sure some of the guys there were probably thinking I was crazy, because I was muttering to myself. But ultimately, I decided to stick with the 4790, and I did for a couple reasons. One, I was already spending with the 4790K CPU and motherboard, because I needed to get a new board. Was costing me about $400, just shy of $400, and I was already spending money that I knew I wanted to spend, but I kind of feeling guilty for spending the money. So I didn't want to spend more than that, but I was debating whether or not it was worth spending the extra money to, get that extra performance. And, but ultimately, like I said, I decided to go that route. And I go that route for two reasons. One, like I said, the cost. The cost was cheaper than obviously going to a newer chip or going to the Enthusiast 2011 V3 series. Also, too, I didn't have to buy new RAM. And because I didn't have to buy new RAM, that obviously was going to add a lot to the cost, because my board still takes DDR3, and to go to the 6000 series Intels or the Enthusiast required me to upgrade to DDR4, so that would have been an additional cost on top of the higher cost of those types of chips and boards. And that was the bad part. Technically, the 6000 series, the processor was a little bit cheap, like $10 cheaper. The motherboard was like $20 or $30 more than the one I bought, almost even in the exact board. And then I was going to spend another $50, $55 for similar memory in DDR4. So, so that's the reason I ended up going that route. I haven't truly got to test it out. I broke it in with Prime 985. In fact, I need to do another round. It's currently factory. Well, I call it factory overclock because the board overclocked it automatically to 4.2 gigahertz, and I have it set so that it stays constant. It doesn't fluctuate. But some people say it's bad for the processor, but you know what? I seem to, when I have little glitches or hiccups, it always seems to happen right when the chip's trying to go from a high state to a low state. And what I mean is newer processors have the ability to go into like a low power state. What they'll do is they'll drop the clocks and they'll drop the frequency to drop the power consumption. And and then when it's called for, when you get above a certain percentage or load, then it'll bump itself back up to full power and put it in, in boosted mode basically. Well, I have my board set, or my chip set to just stay in the high mode all the time, because I'm not worried about power consumption on that. It's a performance machine. That's the way I want it. That's the way I want to keep it. So, but it is currently overclocked 4.2 so far, running perfectly stable. I am currently having issues with the activation on that machine, and I imagine my son's has probably got the same trigger, because he got my old board and processor, my i5 4650 or something like that. It's 2 generations old i5. So yeah, it's still a good chip. There was really nothing wrong with it on my end. I wanted a little more oomph on that machine. I wanted to get his machine upgraded so it would be a little better for him. There are some games where his machine struggles. I am hoping still to upgrade my video card, but I don't know if I'm going 1060 or 1070. It's going to be a money issue. I'll buy what I can afford. I have a feeling I'm probably going to go 1060 again and then go into a 60 series. But I am gonna pay a little extra and get the 6 gigabyte model versus the 3 gigabyte model. But otherwise, I mean, things have been going pretty decent. We've been busy as hell. We did get the news from Doc. His moving in has gotten bumped up. We were hoping to have the end of October to prepare for his arrival. And unfortunately, his roommate pretty much went, okay, well, I got the money for this month's rent, but next month you're on your own, basically. And so that's facilitating his moving in a couple of weeks versus a month. So my wife's going to go down there this weekend, try to help him pack. We're already trying to prep his room. We're going to We're going to lay down new floor. We're going to do a quick paint of the walls. And I'll try to get him as comfortable as possible and get him ready to move up here. Other news, at least for the people who know me and have been in my house, you also know that I've had Doc's Camaro parked in my driveway for years now. And I'm happy to say, and I'm going to turn this around, it's gone! So yep, the Camaro is gone. I'll be honest, I'm not happy with what he got out of it, but like he said, right now with the move and everything, he really needs the money, and to be honest, it's not serving him any purpose, and it's not helping any of us by sitting there. So, that it was ultimately his decision, it was his car, his money. So that's what happened there. But anyway, I'm home, so I'm going to end the vlog for today. Please go subscribe to my other channel, the SD Project. I'll leave a link in the description. Also leave a link to all my social media. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter or on Instagram. And I hope everybody has a great day, has a great week, and we will catch you later.